Hello and welcome to Run It Back on the Raptors Republic Network. I'm Zulfi here, joined by Kyle Ramnarine. Fortunately, no Cody Wiles this week. He is a busy man. He is working his other job at the time of recording. But Kyle and I are going to hold it down for you lot. So Kyle, how have you been, my friend?
I've been good, man. I've been good, taking in free agency, playing on our own little intramural team,
We are,
hopefully
yes. I
on the
would say
on
we're
the
hooping, but we're not really hooping. We are 0-2 right now, but we're getting better. And
yes,
progress matters at this time of year.
on the road to catching a dub, that's all that
Yeah.
matters. But how's everything been for you?
Been good, man. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still sore from our basketball games. I've been trying to hoop in between, get my body feeling
Yeah,
right. I have a wedding to get ready for as well, so I'm hoping to get in shape. But I'm feeling it right now. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. But my back's been killing me, but
Yeah.
it's
We are so old, by the way. And the
yeah.
first thing
You
we want to talk about is just being sore and our backs hurting.
you
Oh
feel
boy.
it after
Yeah.
every Sunday. I just feel it in the morning, waking up like I can't do this no more.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Like we are aging in real time, and it's tough to kind of take that in. But oh well, I digress. But Kyle, we got a couple things to go over
Yep.
this week for our fine folks watching and listening. Our thoughts going into Summer League, which is only a couple of days away now. Our reaction to Masai Ujiri's goodbye video that he posted, and then also some general thoughts on NBA free agency chatter. So we're gonna run it back and get into that. But before we do, as always, please be sure to like this video, leave a comment down below on what you've thought of the Raptors summer so far, whether it's offseason related, whether it's stuff you're excited about going into Summer League, and also make sure you subscribe to the Raptors Republic YouTube channel so you're not missing out on any new content. We are posting all throughout the summer, so you make sure you're not missing anything there and growing the community, which we always love to do. But Kyle, let's run it back, starting with NBA Summer League, or Las Vegas Summer League, that is. Other summer leagues are going. There's the Salt Lake City Classic Summer League, the Utah Summer League, which only like 8 teams competed or something. I don't know. But the Vegas Summer League, the big summer league where all 30 teams play, is set to begin on July 10th until July 20th. The Raptors schedule is available and out. They are going to play 4 games unless they obviously advance. But the 4 games they have are against the Bulls, the Magic, the Nuggets, and the Warriors. So very quickly here for you, Kyle, just going into Summer League, what are some of your expectations or I guess predictions about this roster of the team? And for the people watching, I'll just put it up here super quick for everyone. The roster for the NBA for the Raptors Summer League team. It's a good blend of guys who have been there, done that. Some new guys, obviously, with the rookies and some Summer League signings that the team has made. And then also you have last year's rookie class who are not entering their second year. So again, a good blend of players to keep an eye on. But Kyle, for you, what are you expecting out of these?
I mean, I think like I usually, my usual expectations going into this, just getting our young guys some reps, getting out on the floor, seeing what they can do. I really want to see what CMB has to offer. Even though if it's just the summer league, I want to see what his game's looking like, that I can get more of kind of a visual for the season going forward. But I really have my eye on Jacoby Walter. I honestly think he can make a bigger jump this season, not like a crazy points per game, but just overall improve from what he did last year. I have my eye on him because I feel like he could be a true core piece of this team, maybe not starting, but he really did impress me last year. He had the confidence out there, to put the ball on the floor, take his mid-range, take the threes, play defense the way he usually does. And he was averaging around 8.6 points per game, which is, again, it is not anything too crazy, but for a rookie, relatively impressive. So I honestly think the way his development is going, I really have my eye on him in the summer league, and that's who I'm mainly going to be focusing on, because honestly, I'm really keen on Jacoby Walter right now, and I just want to see how he kind of develops. And I feel like taking that confidence from the first season going into summer league, we might be able to see a little bit more of Jacoby Walter kind of assert himself on the offensive side going forward, even on the defensive side as well. I feel like he has that confidence, so I'm going to be intrigued to see.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Jacoby because I was going to ask you like the player you're most excited to watch, and it obviously seems like it is Jacoby Walter. And my answer was going to be him as well. Like I've looked up and down this roster, and similar to what you're saying, Kyle, I think Jacoby is in a very interesting spot where this second unit is going to be in major need of a scoring punch. And he's a guy who you can see what he can do on ball and off ball and where the potential lies. Obviously, his jumper can be a little streaky, or at least it was last year. Can he use that consistently with a second unit that's led by, let's say, an RJ Barrett or Emmanuel Quickly, Scotty Barnes, whatever, one of the main starters leading a second unit? Can Jacoby Walter work off that guy and be a positive scorer And then also when the ball is in his hands, can he be a go-to guy who can get to the rim, finish creatively like he often does, and not kind of focus on just those tough shots, making life easier for himself in that regard. We know defensively he can be a pest, he can be disruptive, and how does that look in year 2 as well? So for him, like with the summer league team, it's a lot of like, can you be that go-to guy who can provide efficient offense, who can be productive on both ends of the floor? And I am also very curious to see that. But like, if you're talking about my general expectations, this kind of bleeds into that a little bit. Like, I really do expect to see these second-year guys, namely Shed, Walter, Mobo, and Battle, to just be dominant out there and like be largely very productive. They don't have to go and just like wipe people off the floor by any means. But these are guys who are not only entering their second year in the league, but they got a good amount of run in the NBA last season. Like they weren't just stuck in the G League and they weren't just stuck to spot minutes in the rotation because of the Raptors injuries early on. And then obviously the situation towards the end of the season when the team was trying to secure lottery balls, these guys got to play and they got to play a lot together, separately against NBA quality players. And they got a lot of burn and experience doing that. So for them, it's like, is that experience as valuable as you kind of hope it would be? Is it something where they kind of come into a situation where they feel comfortable and they know they can handle this level of game and an even higher level of game? So I want to see those guys be dominant. Like I said, Walter scoring effect, scoring, and they Shed being a positive table setter and being a bit more disruptive as an on-ball defender, not just off the ball. Mobile, what can he do if he's in this wing role or if he's in a small ball center role? Has his craft and touch improved overall? Jamieson Battle, can he do more movement stuff on offense? Can he be a consistent defender on the other end of the floor? Like these are guys who I just have high expectations for now because of just how much experience they got at the NBA level last season. So beyond like the entirety of the roster, it's just those guys specifically. I'm leaving Shamshay out of it, obviously, because he's coming off an injury and he's just much more raw of a prospect. But those four, like I truly do expect them to show a lot of like synchronicity with each other and also just to dominate at times.
Yeah, I honestly agree because, like, of course, dealing with the injuries last year, these guys did see a lot of NBA minutes, and guys like Shed, Walter, Mobile, all incredible defenders in their own rights. They showed off what they can do as well on the offensive end. Some of them may need to make a little bit of tweaks, but overall, it's the summer league where I'm not putting too much expectations on them. But since they did play those NBA minutes and they did get those reps, and they did, have their stints in the 905 as well, I feel more confident in them than other summer league rosters, I would say, because of their skill set, of the reps they got, of the minutes they saw overall. And you have someone maybe like a Shed running the floor. What I saw was intriguing, though. I saw a few comments saying maybe Grady should be out there as well, but I didn't know how you would feel about that because it is his third year going into it now. So I don't know if we should have seen him out there or if he's kind of like did his thing, like he paid his dues and he shouldn't be running with the summer league guys anymore. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I talked about it in that initial breakdown video
Yeah.
I did of the Summer League roster. And you guys can check that out on the Raptors Republic YouTube channel as well. And basically, I was like, I think I'm in the camp of, I was a bit disappointed because you would like to have seen him out there in the sense that, like, he's a guy whose body really needs to warm up to NBA physicality. We've seen that fatigue and the physical rigors affect him. He only played 54 games last season, I believe, because he got injured. So it would have been a nice ramp up period for him. And like, I don't think the expectation was for him to go out there and play every single game anyways, right? It's like, can you go out there for a game or two and dominate? And then the Raptors will just pull you just to see that you are this player who has progressed physically and tangibly on the court. So in that regard, I was a bit disappointed, but like you said, he's a 30-year guy. It's not all that uncommon for 30-year guys to just not play in this game, especially with the Raptors having as many young guys as they do that they want to keep in the mix. I think it makes sense. Obviously, last year you had a guy like Ochai Agbaji playing Summer League because he struggled so much when he joined the Raptors, and then he had the season that he did. But at the same breath, like Ochai Agbaji didn't kill it in Summer League last year. It's not like he was balling, and that's what led to him being successful in the NBA season. So it's hard to really draw a lot from Summer League and say that a guy needs to be out there, especially in his third year. Would you have liked to see him? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, if he comes into the season healthy, if he's physically right, that's the most important thing. And that's what I'm going to be watching out for more than anything. And then if it opens up a spot for the Raptors to try out another young guy, I'm okay with it overall.
Yeah. Honestly, I agree as well. Like, I'd like to see him out there, but knowing why they didn't kind of put him on the summer league roster because we have so many young players that need to get the reps as well. I'm not going to be too upset over it. They need to see their minutes. They need to develop, and we need to get that first glimpse of what these guys are really going to look like, or help the second year guys as well. So either way, if Grady was on, it'd give us a better picture to see how much he's progressed in these 2 years he's played. But if he's not, I'm not gonna complain too much about it.
I just need Grady to put on some muscle. And like
Yeah,
I don't want to be the guy buying into the Ben Simmons shooting in the summer videos, but like you see Grady Dick in some of his like summer, he got post TikToks and videos all the time, but like he looks like his frame is filling out a bit.
Yeah.
He has put on some muscle. So if his focus in the summer was to be in the gym and like kind of lift a little bit and get stronger, obviously you don't want him to like bulk up into like a BC like steroided type of guy, but like if he's out there like just making sure his body can handle physicality, if he can create and initiate contact and play through it, I think that's going to be so important for him. Like again, this is a guy who can do a lot of creative stuff on movement, off the dribble.
Mm-hmm.
But you saw his at rim numbers last season. He was one of the like honestly one of the worst players in the league at finishing at the rim last season, and it's because he just struggles so much with dealing with contact. So if he can do that this season more effectively, and I think if that's what his summer was about, I'm okay with him not playing 3 to 4 games in summer league.
Yeah, and I think that's the main thing right now we all have with Grady. Like he needs to get stronger because not even just like finishing at the rim, like we've seen him just getting pummeled over there, but also on defense as well. As soon as he's on the floor, people like I think Darko's had to take him out at points because they are targeting him every time he's on that floor. They're running that whoever offense on Grady, whoever he's guarding, that's who's going to score. And I think the biggest problem he does need to get stronger. So hey, if he's taken the summer to beef up a bit, hit a triple P90X, whatever he needs to do, I'm all for it as long as that doesn't affect his shot because like we saw with Giannis once he got stronger, that did affect his jumper that he used to have.
But his early summer league highlights, have you been seeing those on Twitter?
Yeah,
Giannis had a jumper. That's crazy.
He had a mid range and a 3. I was like, what the? But then
this guy was stepping back into 3-pointers on his pull up. That's crazy.
I saw it was like that Jokic summer league highlights. These guys were Derrick Rose. These guys were always them. Like I'm just hoping like if Grady does get stronger overall, it makes it not only his offense better but his defense as well. Because again, for me at least, I truly believe Grady could be potentially a starter because we always need that guy that can play 3 and D. And if Grady can add a good defensive arse, like not become the best defender in the world, but just not someone that can constantly get attacked on offense. Would be great for this team. Extremely vital.
Yeah, 100%. And look, the last thing I'll kind of add on this before I throw it back to you, Kyle, is let's just try our best. I know we're all excited and we're all starved for basketball. Try our best not to overreact to too much of summer league. Obviously, again, it can be nice to see these guys in these environments and what context they can kind of play in. But in the grander scheme of things of NBA basketball, it doesn't mean too much. Like we said last season, Ochai Agbaji was not all that great in summer league, and then he had a breakout campaign. In the past, I've seen a guy like Jared Bayless kill it in summer league decades ago, and then his NBA career, we saw it wasn't really the most shinier spectacle thing. So like it really is hit or miss when it comes to summer league. The context is so different. So just that's something to keep in mind. But obviously, we are going to be excited to talk about it, to break it down, see what we can gather. But more than anything, it's the fringe guys, right? The guys on the margins. Yeah. You want to see what they can make of this opportunity. So Kyle, like for you, I'll kind of blend the questions here about like player you might be most excited to watch, but also like a guy or two who you might think is gonna possibly make that run like Jamison Battle did last year, from a summer league contract to Exhibit 10 and camp to a 2-way to then an NBA deal with partial guarantees and a roster spot. Like, do you see a guy on this roster that if you had to squint and glimmer and hope could maybe make a run like that?
I'm thinking who we got in the 2As right now. We got Shamshay, I believe. We got Jared Rhoden on the
Jared Rhoden's been waived, so we have Shamshay, Chucky Hepburn, and I'm trying to remember the third one, to be honest. It was AJ for a minute.
That's what I'm thinking. Like on the 2As we got right now.
Yeah, so I know Chucky and Shamshay are two of them. I think we might have a 2. No, we do have a 2-way open right now because the Raptors are figuring out how they want to go about it. Because you can, I guess, technically put Elijah Martin on that 2-way, and then because he hasn't been signed yet officially, I don't believe. I know CMB has, but Elijah, I think it's like, what are they going to do with his roster spot?
Yeah.
Again, I may be wrong, so don't quote me on that, but I believe they're still figuring out where to put Elijah, so he might go on that 2-way slot.
If anything as well, like I'm gonna keep my eye on Shamshay, maybe potentially. Like I know he is coming off an injury as well, but with him showing off like that, the raw game he does have, hopefully he does manage to improve a little bit more this year. And then if he does, I could see them possibly giving him that that ending half main roster spot, like we've seen with a Jamison battle overall. Or if we do put like maybe Elijah Martin on the 2-way and then he shows out in the 905, then they put him out on there. Right now, like I think it's just kind of up in the air. I don't want to say for sure because Jamison Battle came out shooting out on all cylinders. He had a little bit of a rocky start, I believe, if I remember correctly. But he showed what he can do, and then even covering the main NBA game when he came in, scored threes in a couple of seconds, and he showed out that he had the ability to shoot at an all NBA level. So I just need one of these guys, to make that jump. And for me, it could possibly Shamshay. I really still have like Cody. I still have the high hopes on Shamshay, even though coming off an injury. Let's see what he can do when he gets back out on the floor. I think it's gonna be a slow start, but maybe slow start, but then picks it up throughout the season. Hopefully, I don't know. Do you have anybody in mind?
Yeah, like truthfully, if I'm being honest, just with the way the roster is right now, like I don't think there's anyone that stands out where it's like you can see a path to finding your way onto an NBA roster spot with the Toronto Raptors specifically. Obviously, like you said, this is so fluid and things can change. Yeah. If the Raptors trade one of Ochai and RJ, or they waive one of Colin or AJ Lawson, like then that opens up space, and then there's ways to kind of like see a path here moving forward. Generally, and kind of selfishly, as someone who covers the 905, I'm excited to hopefully see a couple of these guys in the 905 rotation, and then maybe an end of season situation where they're able to kind of like get that 10-day contract type of thing. If they do more than that, absolutely, I'd be thrilled for it. But when you mentioned Jamison Battle, I think the big thing there was like you have to be able to present an NBA level skill at a very elite level. So with him, it was his shooting, especially his ability to catch and shoot and just come into a game not being all that warm, not needing all that ramp up, and just being able to be productive. Like, can you get that? Like a guy like Elijah Martin, like you said, can it be on the defensive end? Can it be just immediately disruptive? And is that going to earn you minutes in the NBA like Jamison Battle shooting did? I'm not 100% sure about some of these guys. Like Chucky Hepburn's an interesting player, a dog defensively as well. But for him, it's like, can the shooting keep up with it? Can you offer some table setting offensively? You'll hopefully get to see that in Summer League and see if that's possible. But again, another undersized guard. Like you really do have to show an elite skill set because we already have a couple of those on the roster. So that's going to be interesting. I think the two forwards in Anawaniwa, Tate Jones, and then Tyson Degenhardt are very interesting because they're so different from each other. Like Degenhardt is a bit of a tank. He's 6'8", but he's 230. Anawaniwa is 6'6", but he's 200 pounds. So a much more slender, herky-jerky, just kind of slither into the paint type of thing with change of speed. And Degenhardt was a guy who's just like a lot more, I don't want to say bully ball, but a lot more physically like focused in terms of his play and creating contact. But they were both productive players in college. So if these are guys who get burned with the 905, which I'd be very, very happy to see them on the 905 roster, and then they were able to kind of work their way up to one of those late 10 days, I think that would be very interesting. And you just never know what these guys can do. So Summer League, I think, is truthfully with these guys, it's a bit of a blank canvas right now. And it's like, what can you make of that opportunity, especially with this roster that has so many different mouths you could feed? You do kind of have to break out. Not, I don't say you have to be selfish, but you have to be self-interested and you have to be motivated and aggressive in that pursuit when it comes to Summer League. So that's what I'm excited to see. So in a roundabout way, like I think truthfully my answer right now is there isn't somebody that stands out to me like that, but I'm hoping that somebody does present themselves eventually.
Yeah. We honestly don't know what could happen with the roster or even on Summer League itself if we do, because I feel like when trade deadline does come, this is like my crazy opinion. I feel like RJ might be moved when trade deadline hits. So at that point, if we do pick up someone, maybe they prove themselves, like you were saying. But overall, right now, it's no one too crazy besides maybe Shamshay jumps out to me. But, we'll see. Maybe we have someone, kind of figure out their footing. Maybe whatever goes on with the Elijah Martin situation, I don't know. But overall, excited to see the guys get their reps and, maybe we see a diamond in the rough here.
Yes, sir. And like I said, July 10th to July 20th is Las Vegas Summer League. The Raptors are going to play the Bulls, Magic, Nuggets, and Warriors. Raptors Republic will have pregame and postgame on their website for every single game, and then some analysis videos throughout as well. But Kyle, let's shift our focus now to a different, I guess, tone of conversation, if you want to say it. But we talked a bit about this last time about Masai Ujiri no longer being the president of the Toronto Raptors. He and MLSE decided to part ways, is the way they phrased it. But Masai Ujiri had his first, I guess, public acknowledgement of the situation. He was on Good Morning America recently as well, talking a bit about it, but his focus in that conversation with them was about Giants of Africa more than anything. So Masai Ujiri posted on the Giants of Africa YouTube channel saying his official goodbye. It's about a 5-minute video. We'll link it down in the description. The overarching message of it was basically, I love you, Toronto. I wish you nothing but the best, and thank you for the last 12 plus years of success together. I have some thoughts on this. Obviously, I'm sure you do, Kyle. So we'll start with you. Like, any reactions or thoughts to Masai's message, and I guess his official goodbye to the city?
It's just depressed, man. It's just depressing when, like we were saying, when he said, instead of like we will win, he said you will win.
Yeah,
And
that
it's just,
sucks.
I was like, damn, bro, because it just bothers me that he didn't fully get to enjoy the 2019 chip because of like the incident that went down over at, I think it was Oracle, right? That happened.
Yeah,
I
I think
guess.
that was the last game in Oracle Arena.
And I was just like, God damn it. And him even saying that himself, and then this whole situation kind of just like, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but just the news itself, him not being here, because if he's had his fingerprints on this organization for so long, he's been so synonymous with the Raptors, with his old initiatives and everything, even just helping like a guy like Siakam, turning him into what he is now. Like you could see he has his place all over, and then he's still even rooting for the Toronto WNBA team as well. He's like, I will be there, and he just loves this city so much. So just watching that video hurt, because there is things going on behind the scenes, and how much he cares, not only for the team but for the city, for everything going on involved. And it just sucks. And like this is a little teaser to like a video I was working on for Raptors Republic, but like it truly feels like we're in a new era now for the Raptors, a new post Masai era. I don't know if we would have even a nickname for it, but it just feels like we're entering something new, and I don't know if it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, but let's hope that with Masai leaving, maybe we see, I want to remain optimistic, maybe we see an upward trajectory and people give a fresh take on what they want to see for the franchise. And I'm wishing Masai the best in everything in the future, but damn, like I wish we could have got one more with him at least.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel the same way. You wish you could have seen him. I don't really want to say rectify, because it's not like he did anything wrong in the situation with that security guard at Oracle Arena, but he was so distraught from that situation. You could even see when Kyle pulls him out, and like you knew it was an important thing to him, because he not only mentioned it in his end of season availability when he said that, again, at the time he was saying we will win again in Toronto. Obviously that's changed, but he mentioned it then, how it's kind of a stain on his celebration or in his memory. And then also in this video that he posted, it was in there as well. It is something that's clearly struck a chord with him, and rightfully so. I don't blame him at all for that moment kind of being etched into his memory. So it was one of those things where you really did hope that he was able to rectify that with the Toronto Raptors. At this point, you're kind of just rooting for whatever his basketball future is. Yeah. If it's in the NBA, I honestly, personally, am rooting for him to get that second championship with whatever team he's with, so he can have his moment that he so rightfully deserves. But overall, I think for a lot of people, it was similar feelings of just a bit of pride, a bit of sadness, or a bit of grief, even if you want to call it. I know for me as well, it was also a bit of closure. Like it was like, again, that official goodbye from him. If the news coming out of him and MLC parting ways was like the actual breakup, and you were like, whoa, that hit me out of nowhere, I wasn't expecting this to happen. This was, again, that conversation you have after, where you've gotten to digest, you have that closure, and then you decide to go your separate ways. And like you said, maybe this can be something where the Raptors get some fresh perspective. It's been mentioned before with Bobby Webster, him and Masai didn't always see the same way on certain decisions. Obviously, they worked in lockstep, but they did have different perspectives on things. If Bobby's the guy to get into that president role, maybe he can lead it in a different way. Or if it's a different voice altogether, we'll have to wait and see what they do there. The president search is still ongoing for the MLSC and the Raptors. But overall, I think we can kind of like put a bow on it now. It was a beautiful message from Masai Ujiri. Again, a 5-minute video. We'll link it in the description, so please be sure to check that out. And it's just, if this isn't the goodbye that we get, it's not maybe the one we wanted, but I'm still glad we got it.
Yeah. Overall, like it could have been he didn't say anything at all, but you know, he went out of his way to make that video and say and just show off how much he loved the city. And I think that's what all Raptors fans needed when this news hit, because it was some people didn't even see it coming. People didn't know why it happened, and he was one of the main reasons for that 2019 championship. So I think this is something that had to happen for both sides, him saying his final goodbye to the fans and us just hearing him say, go out there, win another one. Like, I'll always be supporting the city. So hopefully, still remaining optimistic. Both sides get the best. He goes on to win a chip with another franchise, and let's hope the Raptors continue to grow with him setting the foundation. He gave us the foundation. We just got to take it and do something with it.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what they're able to accomplish with that Masai Ujiri for the first time in over 12 years. Again, like you said, Kyle, it is a new era, and we're all excited for it, but we're all a little, I guess, I don't even know what the word is. Like, there's just uncertainty surrounding the situation as well, right? Like, we just don't know what to expect. It's just after over a decade in a partnership together and kind of understanding what to expect out of a front office and a person, not knowing anymore. Again, it is exciting, but at the same time, there are question marks that come with it. But we'll have to wait and see. And obviously, our fine folks at Raptors Republic will be reacting and analyzing along the way. But Kyle, again, we're going to shift focus to our last conversation here. NBA free agency at large. Obviously, it's been underway for some time now. Deals can be made official as of July 6th, so they've been happening for a little bit. And the Raptors, as we all know, haven't been super involved. The two things that they've really done, I guess the three things they've done in free agency is they re-signed Garrett Temple, they've signed Sandro Mamukelashvili, which there's also a ton of analysis on RaptorsRepublic.com and the YouTube channel if you want to check that out. And then they've re-signed Jakob Poeltl to, I believe it was a 4-year extension. There's a player option somewhere in there. There's all this breakdown on that deal and stuff as well. We talked about it a little bit before, but I guess outside of Raptors land, since they haven't done too much in free agency, is there any other teams that have stood out to you, Kyle, as winners or losers? And tell me how you're about to mention the Lakers somehow.
I was literally about to say the Lakers. I don't even want to say they're winners because
they're not winners. If you're asking me, they are not winners.
I am an Ayton hater. Even when they signed Ayton, I was just like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we have a center, but this is the same guy that just watches rebounds and he doesn't crash the board. So
the guy who was afraid of ice in his driveway, so he didn't show up to a basketball game that he got paid millions of dollars for.
4 games into the season, LeBron's gonna choke this dude out, bro. Might be what sends LeBron into retirement. And speaking of retirement, CP3 announced his final season. It was so random because it was just on some talk show. They were just like,
it was with Jamel Hill. I don't know if I believe him on it. I kind of do, but he said it so unsure as well. This is my last season. I don't know. I feel like he's you'd kind of put your stamp on it, especially if it was gonna get aggregated like that,
Yeah, it's that's what I was saying. It was so random because they're like, oh, how longer do you want to play? And he's like, not more than a year. Okay, that you're just gonna drop that bombshell just out of nowhere. And I guess everyone's reporting that it is his final year, and he hasn't come out and said maybe it's up in the air.
Yeah.
I guess we're treating this as a Chris Paul farewell season, and it's gonna be interesting because he's a free agent, I believe, right? He can.
Yeah, currently he's not signed yet.
So I don't know where he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to try a Clippers reunion. I don't know if he's going to try and join his banana boy on the Lakers, but I feel I wouldn't like that either because then you got Luka, LeBron, Chris Paul, all his prominent ball handlers.
There's a lot of ball handlers there.
Yeah. So wherever he goes, I hope he has a good season. I don't know if he's going to end up winning a ring. If I'm him, I'm just going to chase a ring at this point because who cares? But overall, for free agency, it's been, I think the winners, at least for me, would be the Nuggets because of getting their depth back. And I feel overall, free agency hasn't been a big fish type situation where stars are moving. It's mainly been role players and people picking up core pieces to what they need to win. And speaking of the Nuggets too, Valanciunas, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm hearing he wants to go play overseas, but then I'm hearing the Nuggets are expecting him to lace up for the season, but I don't know if he's mad at the Nuggets or what's going on over here. I don't know if you heard anything about it.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned how the Nuggets are a winner because they added a ton of depth, and I'm with you. I wrote about winners and losers for free agency. The Nuggets were at the top of my list. If you turn Michael Porter Jr.'s $40 million into a cheaper Cam Johnson, who's in my opinion just as good and better defensively, and then you also had Bruce Brown, you're also able to trade for Jonas Valanciunas, and you're also able to sign Tim Hardaway Jr., you're a winner. But then the Jonas Valanciunas of it all, which funny enough would probably in terms of depth pieces would have been the most impactful in my opinion for the Nuggets. His situation is a little up in the air, I guess you want to call it. Basically, he's got an overseas interest from the Greek team, the Panathinaikos. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. But they have, for lack of a better term, they have tried to lure him by saying they want to offer him a contract. I'm assuming they want to pay him really well as well, at least similarly to what he'd be giving up in the NBA if he's interested in doing that. And I think for him, a big part of it is if you're in the NBA right now and you're looking at your kind of outlook, Jonas Valanciunas has been traded like 3 times or 2 times in the past like season and a bit. Like he started on the Wizards, he got traded to the Kings, and now he's traded to the Nuggets. He's a guy whose NBA career is basically getting to that point where he's dealing with a lot of movement and being traded. He's no longer seen as a consistent starter. He really wasn't with the Kings all that much, even though he had a bit of an up and down role with the Wizards. With the Nuggets, he would be a backup 100% because obviously you have Nikola Jokic there. So if you're him, I guess you kind of see it as like, if I'm going to play at the twilight of my career, why not play it in a consistent environment for myself and my family with a consistent role and kind of with more expectations? And obviously, if Panathinaikos are coming and luring him and trying to attract him, they're obviously going to treat him really well.
Yeah.
And I think that's something alluring as well for him, for a guy who's a guy that kind of later years in his career versus the Nuggets. Like, yeah, sure, I'm going to be a rotation piece for the regular season, but are you guys going to keep me around if it's not working out? And then come playoff time, am I going to get a consistent role, or is it just going to be like we're going to let Jokic play 48 minutes a game? So I think those are some of the reasons. Again, I'm speculating here entirely. He hasn't said anything about it, but those are some of the reasons that you would think JV is considering this. But at the same time, like from the Nuggets perspective, like they've made it clear they're willing to play hardball here. They're like, dude, you're on an NBA contract. It is binding. We want you here. We want you to back up Nikola Jokic. Obviously, for them, relief has been such a dire need. They've been bottom 5 in scoring for the bench, into the bench scoring for the playoffs and regular season this last year. So they need minutes eaters and guys to provide relief. JV would do that fantastically. I think we can all agree. So they're like, no. We don't care if you're interested in leaving the NBA. We want you here, and we're keeping you under contract, and we'll hold you here. So it's interesting because I know last year, Sasha Vezenkov, who the Raptors traded for, who they had some interest in actually playing, he said, no, I think I'm kind of done with the NBA. I want to go back to Europe. He went with Olympiacos, I believe. And the Raptors acquiesced. They waived him. They let him go back. They obviously, he left some money on the table, and then he was able to go join the team he wanted to in Europe. Denver's taking a different strategy. Like, if you were in the Nuggets position, would you do the same thing? Would you just be like, no, dude, you're under contract? Or, like, is it a thing where, like, if you know this guy doesn't want to play for your team, like, do you want that in the locker room type of thing?
The thing is, too, like, JV is he's still a solid player. Like, he still can contribute. So, God forbid something were to happen to Jokic, he could still not be as impactful as Jokic, obviously, but you know, he can give you some minutes off the bench. He could still be a solid like starter if they needed him. But I don't know. I guess it depends on his attitude. Like, how bad do you really want to go play in Greece? Like, if I force you to come play here, is that going to affect your game? Is that going to affect the morale? Are you going to go to other players talking about how you don't want to be here? Is this going to turn into a bigger thing than not? Like, I guess it just comes down to where JV's mindset is. If he's really, if he sits down with the team and he's like, I really want to go play in Greece. This is something I just don't want to play in the NBA anymore. Like I feel like my role here isn't going to be something that can really contribute. I want to go be somewhere else that I feel like I can play real minutes and do something with the team. If he's just saying that 1-to-1 with whoever, then yeah, I guess you got to let him go at that point, because there's no purpose in holding a player against his will to play for the team, because his mindset's just not going to be there. It's just not, if he doesn't want to play, it's going to reflect on the court and on his just body language overall. So I don't see the point in forcing him to be here. Like, again, I don't know what they're offering him over there in Greece that's making this so intense.
Well, I think he's supposed to make like 11 million next season. Yeah. So you imagine that they're going to be offering him somewhere around that, if not a bit more, because if he's willing to leave that on the table from the NBA to then go to the Greek team, you think it's going to be something similar. But also, holy crap, how much has NBA free agency changed? There was a time in our lives where around midnight, the Dallas Mavericks front office or whatever, or whoever the Clippers front office and Blake Griffin and those guys had a chair on a door locking in DeAndre Jordan so they can kind of bring him back to the Clippers so he wouldn't sign with the Dallas Mavericks. They were holding players hostage. And now you have a standoff with Jonas Valanciunas entering, I don't even know, year 14, who averaged 10 and 7. He's the guy you're having a standoff with in free agency. The aprons have changed NBA free agency so much. It's wild how different things are now.
It's crazy. And, like, for me too, just looking at the overall landscape, I know, like, I think I'm hearing the rumors that they want to buy out Bradley Beal, or there is a buyout being talked about. Because he's got the Suns in purgatory right now. He's got them in NBA hell. And then on his contract, I don't know what's going on with him and Jackson Hayes getting no trade clauses in their contract. Like,
Jackson
what are
Hayes has a no trade clause?
Yeah, he has a no
That's
trade
cap.
clause.
There's no shot.
Swear,
Jackson Hayes
I
has a no
swear.
trade clause.
I'm
How
gonna
does
verify
Jackson
this.
Hayes have a no trade clause?
Let me see this, Jackson.
All right, you look that up. If it is, then I have some questions for Rob Pelinka that I need to be answered. But for the Bradley Beal thing, look, I think for the Sun situation, they have so many players in redundant positions on that team. Obviously, you're building around Devin Booker. An extension for him is coming up. Both sides apparently really want one. So Bradley Beal, it's like this experiment clearly hasn't worked. There's maybe a chance where you're like, let's try it with this new roster. Kevin Durant's on a team. We're hitting a new button. Obviously, Bradley Beal will have more opportunity. We'll see what it would have to look like next to Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks there as well. It gets really funky. But at the same time, like you just saw what the Bucks did with Damian Lillard, and they waived and stretched him. But the big caveat there is the Bucks went and got the top free agent on the market in Miles Turner. What the heck are the Suns going to do once they waive Bradley Beal and stretch his money and have that dead money on their salary for the next 5 years? Like, probably nothing, to be quite honest. Who are the Suns signing, right? So if you have that dead money on your books and then you also give Devin Booker this massive extension, you have so much money allocated to a player and then extra money technically. Like, you're not really building your roster out with that. You don't have much control of your future. So to your point, like, it's not the cleanest situation for them. Like, could they do this just to be like, we want to get off the whole Bradley Beal situation. We want to move forward and try it with these new guys in the mix. I can see it, but at the same time, financially speaking and roster building wise, it's putting you in an even more bind than you were already in. So, like, I don't know, like, maybe you just wait, because after the season, Bradley Beal has a player option. It's for $57 million. So God knows he's probably opting into that. The other team is going to give him that kind of money, right? So you expect him to play this season. Say he opts into that $57 million. Then you can probably trade him as an expiring contract. And even if you can't, after the second year of that contract, and you're finally off the books from Bradley Beal, he can do whatever the hell he wants, and then you can move forward, versus having his dead cap money potentially stretched for the next 5 years on the books, if that makes sense. So if it's me, I don't know. I don't buy our Bradley Beal just because I've been sick and tired of the situation. I think you show some patience, which obviously the Suns front office hasn't done with Matt Ishbia at the helm as a new owner. The only thing they haven't been is patient. They've been really jumpy and kind of like wanting to make big moves. But if they wait this out for 2 years, I think it'll work out better for them.
It's that contract is so nasty, man. Like, that contract is
he's owed $110 million basically over the next 2 years.
Crazy. I don't know what Washington was thinking when they gave him that, bro. And then they gave him a no trade clause on that as well. So it's crazy.
Okay, Jackson Hayes, does this guy have a no trade clause? Be dead ass with me right now.
I just searched it up, and they said in order for him to re-sign with LA, he had to waive his no trade clause. So he had one, but he had to get rid of it if he wanted to be brought back. So they pretty much just held him at gunpoint and said, if you want this money, get that off.
The Lakers were like, yo, Jackson, we kind of messed up here by giving you that. Can you help us out here if you want another NBA roster spot? God damn, why the hell did Jackson Hayes get a no trade clause?
I don't
know. How do they even come up with this stuff?
I'm about to go check his agent. It's about to be Rich Paul, man. Given the no trade clauses. But overall, like, yeah, I'm thinking, like, is Devin Booker this much of a lifer though, man? Like, to stay on Phoenix this long without, because you're seeing all his peers in his draft class are seeing success. You know, they're seeing either the finals, they're seeing either deep playoff runs, they're being competitive every year. And he's just, again, he's stuck in this NBA purgatory of they're not going to be horrible enough to get a top pick again, but they're not going to be like good enough to make like a deep run in the playoffs if they do make the playoffs. So if I'm Devin Booker or if I'm the Suns, I don't know if I look at trading Devin Booker. If you're the Suns front office, do you look at trading Devin Booker? Because he's going to get unhappy. I don't know if he's going to stay here, but does he get unhappy? Does he want to move eventually?
I think if you're both sides, you look at that conversation after an extension. I just think it makes more sense, because if you're the Suns and you're trading away an expiring player, well, you get less value, especially for a guy who's been that monumental to your franchise. I believe he's the franchise all-time leader in points. Like, this is a guy who, like you said, has been a lifer to this point. He hasn't been causing issues. He hasn't been requesting trades. He's been really loyal and supportive. He helped lead this team to a finals run. They were up 2-0 in the finals at one point. Like, he's been there and you know what he's worth. So, like, if you're going to trade that guy, you really do need to maximize value for him. And it's something we saw with the Raptors situation by not extending Siakam first and then looking at deals. It did cost them. Obviously, they were able to make it work out. They got Brandon Ingram, yada, yada, yada. But I think most people agree they probably would have gotten more value if Siakam was under contract. Similarly with that. And then Devin Booker, similarly, like if you get extended, you get that max contract, you get that big money. Then when you get then if you request a trade, well, then you're not worried about a contract situation. You're not doing it basically looking for a team just trying to give you a bag. You're making it make more sense based on fit and whatnot. And then other teams trading for you understand the financial ramifications of whatever deal is happening. So I think if you're Devin Booker, you've earned your bag, go get it. And then if you really feel like you need a new situation, request a trade. And then for the Suns, maximize value by extending him as well. I think an extension just makes sense all around first before you even think about that.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like, Devin Booker's too good to not win a ring, man. Like, I feel I need to see this guy in at least one more finals. I don't know if it's going to be with the Suns because I just feel like with this roster...
trust me, it's not going to be with the Suns. I think we both know it's not going to be with the Suns unless their roster magically transforms overnight.
I don't know who was in the Washington front office, man. That was like, yo, we got to give this guy as much money as possible, bro. And then a no trade clause, and then give him up to Phoenix. I know Phoenix in the back of their minds they're blaming Kevin Durant for this, right? They gotta watch Bradley Beal and Jalen Green hoops until 2032, bro. Like it's
not pretty. It's not pretty. But yeah, that does it for like Phoenix's other teams. Any other teams that stand out to you as like major winners or losers? Like Norman Powell was traded to the Miami Heat, John Collins to the Clippers. It was a 3-team deal. Basically, Utah just got some picks and got some expiring salaries on it. But Norman Powell is back in the Eastern Conference with the Miami Heat. John Collins is with the Clippers now instead of the Jazz. Both of them are on expiring contracts, motivated to get their next NBA paydays. So that would be interesting to see. But like anything else stand out to you from free agency, whether it's winners, losers, teams you just want to talk about that you think are going to be doing something?
Honestly, I think like for the last winners for me, maybe possibly the Clippers. I do like the move for John Collins overall, helping a guy like Harden or whatever. And I feel like with the Heat getting Norman Powell, I don't mind the move. I feel like it is obviously Norman Powell's a fantastic player and he's going to be great anywhere he goes. But I just feel like they need something more to get back into that contending mix. Whether it be they do end up picking up Lillard, if Lillard because he's currently still technically a free agent, but he's going to be rehabbing an injury. So I don't know what the Heat's really going to do. Like, if for them, I feel I can see them being bounced out like the second round, but I don't see anybody else really making that jump on the Heat. But with the Clippers though, John Collins is going to be great as long as Kawhi stays healthy, Harden stays healthy, and I don't know if they're planning to bring in anybody else. But overall, for me, the Nuggets might go back to back, man. Like they got their depth back, they might go back to back. And the Lakers overall, like I don't know, man. Ayton, yeah, LeBron's gonna choke him out. And I think your mic is muted, my guy.
There we go. I think I'm back now.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like the LeBron J.R. Smith meme where LeBron's like this. He's just gonna recreate that with Ayton. But on the Clippers, I will say I think they've had a sneaky good offseason. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like you said, John Collins bringing him back into the mix. Bringing him into the mix. I think it adds a lot of front court size. I think it's a consistent lob threat for James Harden. And again, he had a Utah Jazz on both ends of the floor. And then just again, going into a contract year, if he's looking for that next NBA payday, I think having him motivated next to Harden is going to be an exciting idea. And then they also hired Brook Lopez, who Brook as a starter now, obviously not the guy he once was. He's guy's like 37 or whatever. Like he just doesn't have that same mobility, doesn't have that same pop to his game. But Brook Lopez off the bench behind Ivica Zubac, playing like 20 minutes a game. I think there's a lot of juice to that. There's a lot of like interesting like rim protection that he can offer. Again, it didn't look that great this season with the Bucks, especially as a rim protector, but he still has this massive frame. And if you're letting him play rejuvenated and refreshed and not having to start every single game, I think that offers a lot of value to your team. And then I really, really hope they go and get Chris Paul. I think it'd be an awesome backup ball handler. I think he makes a ton of sense for this team. Again, if you're looking for one last run, what better place to do it with a team where you really had all this success and all this fun with? Like, obviously, Chris Paul has been successful in many different places, but the Lob City era Clippers are iconic for the mid-2000s or 2010s or whatever. So I think it'd be so much fun for him to be back in that environment as well. So I'm hoping the Clippers add to him. They've already been a winner for me. A couple quick ones I'll just list out is the Orlando Magic. I've been a big fan of their offseason as well. They traded for Desmond Bane. That addresses some of their three-point shooting. They signed Tyus Jones. This guy has been one of the best, like, assist to turnover guys in the NBA for the past couple of seasons. He was second in the NBA last season. The Magic sucked at handling the ball, especially by putting so much pressure on Paolo Banchero. So you had Tyus Jones now, who's going to take some of the responsibility off his shoulders. They then re-signed Mo Wagner, who's going to be a good, again, backup big for them. He's coming off an injury, so we'll see. And then they signed Paolo Banchero to a massive rookie scale extension. I think like 280 some million over 5 years or whatever it is it can be worth. So obviously huge money for Paolo. I am so much higher on Paolo than a lot of people. I'm kind of honestly annoyed at some people's like conversation around this guy and the people they compare him to. This dude put up 27 points per game in his first playoff series in his career. Like, I'm sorry. Paolo Banchero is great. I don't want to hear it. If people say he's not, I just start questioning their basketball knowledge, if I'm being honest with you. And that's where I'm at with Paolo and the conversations I've seen about him online. But overall, I'd like the Magic as well. But yeah, before we wrap up, any last things you want to go through?
Yo, I feel like the Clippers should bring in Chris Paul and bring in Doc Rivers for one last run, man.
All right, you ruined it. You ruined it so fast. You're doing well. You were doing well. You weren't going too crazy on the Lakers talk, and then you just had to say something like that.
I was gonna say your favorite, bro. They should bring in Lob City one more time, man. Doc Rivers, Chris Paul.
You have Ty Lue as your coach. You're gonna replace him with that man?
Is he still on the Bucks? Is he
Yeah. Doc Rivers still in charge of the Bucks. Some way, somehow, that dude has a job in the NBA as a coach. I don't know how he does it. Death, taxes, and Doc Rivers ruining your playoff chances. It's nothing like it.
I'll never get tired of the Doc Rivers slander, man. Every year, every year, it's great. Every time they get eliminated, I love seeing the memes, bro.
Every time they get eliminated, Doc Rivers has to tell the entire NBA media landscape why it wasn't his fault, why it was because of so-and-so. 5 years down the line, he's going to start blaming a seventh man on the bench about why it's because of him and what he said and what he did, because Doc Rivers is never to blame for when they mess up.
Dog, I don't know what was going on. That one Celtics championship, bro, like, gave this guy the best career, the best NBA career.
Carried by 4 Hall of Famers. This is just turning into a hate pod right now if we keep this up. I think we got to stop before this devolves into just more anger towards Doc River. But yeah, winners and losers of NBA free agency. It's been a bit up or down. Like you said, Kyle, not the biggest names moving around. Obviously, the Kevin Durant trade was a dominant part of it all, and then it turned into a crazy 7-team trade, first time in NBA history. Why I don't completely understand still, but I think it has a lot to do with just like cap ramifications and apron stuff and how teams are able to move. It might be more common as this new CBA continues to stay in effect, but we'll continue to break stuff down as it happens. I think that pretty much wraps it up here before, again, we continue into way too much Doc slander and we hit an hour just doing that. But that'll do it for us here at Run It Back, where we recap everything, hopefully, in Raptors land and some general NBA for everyone. But let us know down below in the comments. Again, what have you made of the Raptors offseason to this point, whether it was some of their signings, the extension of Jakob Poeltl, or entering Summer League? We are only a couple of days away, like 2 days, actually 1 day away at the time of this that gets posted. So what are you expecting out of that roster? Who are you excited to see? Let us know down below in the comments. And always, please be sure to subscribe to the Raptors Republic YouTube channel and leave a like on this video. It just helps us reach more people, and we want to provide as much content and analysis as we can to as many people as the summer days wane on. But with that being said, for myself, for Kyle, that does is here at Run It Back. We'll see you next time. Peace.